as being criminal. So this so-called general overseer, in my own perspective, he's not a bishop, but he's a criminal. He is nobody other than a criminal. He has no knowledge about the principles of the scripture of the Bible, which he claims to be a custodian of. So he's just a very obvious criminal. So his activities, I think, as the police investigate further, they'll be able to disclose to this public the kind of person he is. And for him to have the plan of kidnapping a bishop could be that the bishop has been seen to have a lot of money, or maybe he's a rich man. And this general overseer intends to see how he could get some ransom from him, you know. So it is very clear. In my own opinion, this fellow is not a Christian. Okay. He's not, yes, he's a criminal. So his attempt to do this activity shows that he may have also done it other times and may have also succeeded. But unfortunately, in this scenario, luck ran out against him, and he was apprehended by the police. So, to me, it is not an issue of having any grievance with the other bishop that he intends to kidnap. It's not a grievance matter, but it is a matter of covetous, envious, and malicious mindset that he may have against that bishop, because he may have felt that this bishop has a lot of money, a lot of followers, and if he is apprehended, if he's kidnapped, he's going to have a good sum of money from that.
Amazing. Yeah. But there are cases of rapes, kidnaps, and even killings from church so-called general overseers, and we have a body count. You know, of course, the scripture says that it's not everyone that is calling on the name of the Lord that is truly acknowledging that name.
Yeah.
But that's to say that it will be a kind of difficult to fish out the people who really are truly worshiping God and acting in the way that the scripture says we should act. But is there no way a can come up with a body, with a committee that should at least checkmate some of these churches to know what is going on the ground after and before services? Because I believe that there is no how this kind of body will be set and one day or somehow they will not come up with something, because there are so many hidden things going on. Yeah, we know that there are spiritual matters and there are also physical matters, but there are some of them that owns a room, a particular hideout where they do their things before they come out. So is there no way they can set up this kind of body to go round and checkmate what these people do for the sake of people following blindly?
Yeah, we know very clearly that is the body, or the general body which other denominations are affiliated with. You know, does not have that interrogative power. The Lord did not give such power to Can to investigate or to interrogate the activities of a denomination. It's only the government that has such powers to investigate any denomination if there are suspicion of criminality, of killings, of anything that is against the criminal law. It is then the police, the government, or the other agencies, the court, and all that will handle that. CAN is there to protect the tenets of the Christian faith, and they are there to also organize all of these denominations to have a kind of ecumenical frame that everybody as professors and proclaimers of same faith could come under that umbrella. Yes, usually can organize certain retreats and programs, conventions, in order to encourage people to adhere to the biblical principles and also discouraging all of these anti-scriptural practices, criminal practices. Of course, there are forums to do that, but they cannot come to a church or a denomination to investigate what is going on there. They do not have that jurisdiction. So what is there is that, you know, since we have freedom of worship and people just can set up anybody, any organization, and then register with the government and then start operating. Now, we find out that those who do not have the knowledge and the credence in terms of being qualified to do so. It's just like in the European society, in the Western society, for you to man a pulpit, you must show a proof that you went through a recognized Bible institution, and then the government will certify you to have such an office. That's what happens in the Western society. You cannot just come and set up a body without the government giving you the approval, because they have laws that must be followed in terms of your religious practices and faith. So for the government to recognize you as a preacher in the Western society, they must authenticate your office by issuing you the permission to do that. Having, yes.
Before you proceed, I want to
Yes.
confirm so I don't get to forget.
Yes.
Are you saying that all of these denominations we are seeing here and there, that they have gotten certification before they start?
Not all. There are so many of these Christian denominations that are not certified by the government in terms of Nigerian perspective. So they
Minority or majority?
Yes, majority of them.
Okay.
There are those mushroom ones coming up. Every corner you find them. They do not have that government certification to operate. But because the government is less concerned about that, that's why it goes on that way. But in the Western world, it doesn't go that way. For you to have a congregation, you must have the qualification. You must have the approval. The approval comes based on the qualification that the institution that the government recognizes will now give an information to the government relating to your faith and in terms of your as a preacher. The government will now be informed, and as a result of that, government will give you a license to practice on that basis. But in Nigeria, the scenario is different.
But even though the scenario is different here, is there a possibility that when they come up, if it is a small denomination, definitely, maybe they will not pay attention. But is there a point that by the time they grow and become a bigger denomination, that government comes in at some one way or the other, or did they just let them operate?
No, if they grow, if the church grows, some of them, once they have grown to a sizable number, what they do is that they now seek for government their CSC, Corporate Affairs registration, and some of them, they get registered and they begin to operate. But there are also those who get registered that they still perpetrate this criminality. It is very, very disturbing that from the informations we are getting, that so many persons, criminals, are hiding under the
umbrella of church.
Yes, of church, and they do that in collaboration with the founder. And in fact, you'll be surprised that through church, people launder money. That's what we're finding out of recent time. That people launder money through church. You see the church, a mega church, a big church, you see them expanding and all of that. It's because of the money that is passing through them. So that
yes.
Does
this has to do with all the denomination, or is just
certain
some churches?
Denominations, not all. Those whose the founders come in affinity and agreement with this kind of persons, they shared whatever loot or whatever money that has been laundered. Like this kind of general overseer we are talking about here could be one of such people that formed this church to aid criminals and also to cover criminals. And then such criminals could be members of his church. He may have a gang where they operate, and then you can't easily recognize them, except in this case that God had made it for them to find the kind of person he is, so police to go after him and get him. So it is very certain that he has been performing, carrying out these acts often and on, undictated, and luck has run out against him now. So.
All right, I did ask a question some days back, some weeks back, I mean to say. There was a denomination somewhere in Nigeria where the general overseer was caught having defiling a minor, and this is something that he has been into for years, and perhaps parents didn't know, or maybe they do, and they decide to hide it because he's our general overseer. Though luck actually ran out of him and he was caught. Yeah. But I asked a question. Why is it that when something of this nature happens, they don't close down that particular denomination? Because the truth is, no crime is being carried out alone. And even if it is done, it might start from one person, but it will move to 2 or 3 that bear witnesses in order to be able to cover that that act very well. Yeah. But in a situation that when something of this nature happened, they will say just a general overseer, they will allow the person to go. What about the next person? If you could get it in this story, not just the man that was arrested, the wife is there, the elders of the church. It means that if the pastor is into this, 1 or 2 will definitely get to know about it. Yeah. And they have been arrested for purpose of investigation. But what if all of them are into it? Should they allow this denomination to run in the name of it is God's church? Meanwhile, the people in there, though some may be innocent, ignorant, but there are some that will know about it. Yes. And what is a tendency that if this man gets to know that there is someone that a fraudster in church, that he would not cover up because already he's into that?
Now, what is there is that the police need to do a thorough investigation in terms of finding out, discovering those who are the board members of this group or this denomination. They need to thoroughly investigate each of them so that they know their security profile, they know their whatever credibility they may have, them being possessed. So it is the duty of the police to investigate the church, not necessarily investigating their tenants, but investigating the criminality that is ongoing in that church. So those members who are board members need to be questioned. Now, how did they come about establishing this organization, and what has been the activities that has been carried out? What has been the occurrences in this kind of group? So police have to do that. And it is after they have thoroughly investigated, and if they found out that this group of persons are criminals, the police, the government have the power to seal that place, because they are not adhering to the law of the nation and the law of God. So the police have responsibility to do that when they've discovered that these people are just criminals.
So don't you think this will have a way of affecting the body of Christ? Remember that anything that has to do with church, people have a way of carrying elaborating it.
Yes, I understand. It will not go that far in terms of leading to closure of churches or whatever.
Not necessarily leading to closure, but leading people astray.
No, leading people astray. Of course, those people who are there in that congregations have been led astray. Those ignorant ones, those gullible ones, and those who have also been participating in the criminality may have been lured by the pastor, that in order for them to, acquire all this unnecessary money or cash they're looking for. So what is there is that these members that are there could be rescued in terms of closure of the so-called church, or giving whosoever is a nurse to the pastor if he or she has been well investigated and has been clarified to not be partaker of this kind of criminal activity. So such a person could continue handling the church. But there was a case in River State here, one of the churches, I won't mention the name, they had some problems in terms of leadership also. And they had it for over time. And it has to do with ethnical sentiment, that so many persons from this ethnic group and the other ethnic group, they fought in the church. It was very, very saddening. And the police came, the government came in. They closed that church for some years in collaboration with the bishop of that church.
Okay.
So the church was sealed. Nobody goes to the place. It was totally sealed for over a year or more.
That's the building was sealed?
Yes, the building was
not
sealed.
The church.
Closed.
Okay.
Yes, the building was closed. And those members, the members in that congregation located other nearby branches, and they attended until there was an agreement, a solution that was reached before it was reopened. Currently, it's open now.
And people
yes,
actually
people
came
have
back?
come back. Yes.
Oh, wow.
So in this case where this general overseer has done this, and it could be with the wife and the other members who are in this kind of criminal gang, if they are found, that is, if there are other board members or leaders in that denomination that are culpable, that are criminals involved, and if everybody in the group are investigated to be culpable, they can seal up the building, can seal it up. Government has the power to do that. So,
okay.
And it will, in other way, rescue those who ignorantly go to such places. And it's very unfortunate that some persons may have also been lured into involving in criminal activities when they do not wish to do so, because they will say, if our leader, General Overseer, is the one, the gang leader, they can easily be lured and convinced to join this criminal act.
All right, thank you so much, sir, for that explanation.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at the next story for today. In a Decan farm settlement, Ijebu Ode, Ogun State, Matthew James killed his 55-year-old wife, Etim Mary, around 8 p.m. on Sunday over suspicions of her infidelity. Community and police source revealed James suspected an affair and claimed they had a blood covenant not to betray each other. Wow. Another killing. After killing her with a machete, he remained at a scene and was arrested by Ijebu Igbo Division Police. Police spokesperson Omolola Odutola confirmed the wife was pronounced dead at the hospital and her body was taken for autopsy. The case will be transferred to the State Criminal Investigation Department in Abeokuta. This incident mirrors a similar case in April in Ekiti, where Dare Onipede allegedly killed his wife over infidelity accusations. It's not just about it's not about the first story. Now you've also seen a similar story here. What do you think about this? Husbands killing wives because of infidelity, and you know that. I mean, men are equally doing this too. Yeah. I'm not justifying the killing, but what do you think about blood oaths? Let's start from there. Their husbands said they took a blood oath that they are never going to cheat on each other. But unfortunately, it has happened, and we don't even know how true this is. Maybe he suspected something, and then he felt that the wife is actually having affairs outside. What do you think about blood oaths?
The fact is that people just take decisions or make some oaths or take some oaths that they don't understand the effects or surrounding implications of such acts. To the man, he has felt that because covenant is the bond in marriage that has been instituted by God, the matchmaker himself. It's not the oath taken. The oath taking has to do, people just borrow ideas from places that they don't understand, the way things are being done. It is mostly anything that has to do with blood, has to do with some sacred or some fetish or by some occultic kind of relationship that people have. So bringing that into their marriage was a very big error that the man did. The second error is that he did not give the woman life. Therefore, he has no power to take the woman's life. So if he's using that yardstick that he suspected that the woman has had an affair with another man, why didn't he have the patience to investigate this woman through the police? He can report the case to the police. Say, this my wife has had an affair with another man outside. She will be invited and interrogated. But taking the law into his hand by terminating the woman's life is a very
wrong decision.
Yes, wrong decision he has taken, and by the law, he's going to face the consequences.
I was thinking that this blood oath, or I mean taking of oath generally in marriage, I don't mean because you have the positive ones, of course, when you want to pay your dowries and all of those, and there's some things you need to proclaim. But like this blood oath, I thought maybe people do it. If you do this, this will happen to you. Abi, do they go extreme of saying, if you do this, I will be the one to kill you?
Exactly.
Do they go extreme doing that? This is 55-year-old woman.
This is a very wrong approach to it, because those who take oath usually, they said when you do this, the gods of the land or the karma or the effects, the consequences will come on the individual. That one, they just have that natural, mystical or superstitious belief that such things are bound to happen if you go against the oath that has been taken, but not the one where the individual will become the gods of the land, will become the god, or will become the karma, or will become the one that will abruptly lay the consequence on the individual by taking the life of that individual. So that is where this man has actually gone the wrong path. So he has gone against the law of the nation, the law of the society, the law of the country. He has gone against even the scriptural law. He has also gone against the cultural law, because our culture does not permit that. There are certain things that people do that culturally this is the situation, or this is the consequence, or what will follow, but not the taking of the person's life. So that is I call it the excessiveness of anger, that the person has nursed in his heart against that woman. It is not just for that day. It has over time been, and it has accumulated in the mind. The dislike, the lack of love, and you can't kill somebody you love. You can't harm somebody you cherish. Your wife is the closest person to you, no matter what she does to you. Infidelity may be seen to be something that he feels shouldn't have occurred, but it does occur. He himself, if he should be arrested and interrogated, you find out that he's also involved in it. And that is the natural situation. It happens at any time.
Maybe the gods are not acting fast again, so he has to do that.
No, to him, he feels that he wants to do it for the gods, forgetting that he also is liable to the consequence of such act, because Jesus said when a woman was caught in adultery, every of the people, the men, everybody came pointing, we caught her in the very act. And one question Jesus asked, he said, that if any of you here is without this same sin, can you take your hand up?
And none of them did.
Take a stone and hit the woman. From the least of them, they walked away because they were all guilty. The man is guilty. If the police should interrogate him,
they will know.
They will find he's guilty.
Okay, Dr. Guston, let me ask. I'm going to have this topic separately, but let me just ask you based on this story.
Yeah. What
do you think couples should do when they get to find out that their partner is actually being unfaithful to them? Yeah. What should be done? Because apart from the case of taking blood oaths and all of those, there are some that have not gone that extreme of doing some of these fetish things. So in a situation that you find out your partner is cheating, should the partner walk away? How should they do it?
No. What is there is this. It is not something that should be made public yet. If you find out that your partner is having such kind of relationship. All this thing begins from the background of the individual, the training the person received. There are some persons that while they were still young, growing up, they usually have this kind of waywardness in terms of having partnering with several opposite sex and all of that. And as a result of that, it becomes an habit to them. And as they grow with that kind of habit, and some of them, they get married. And once they get married, that habit is still there. It will need for the individual to go for counseling.
Okay.
Yes, the person needs to go for counseling to a more experienced person in marriage. Maybe marriage counseling, say, and open up to the counselor about his behavior in terms of all of these moral behaviors. The counselor will do well to tell the individual the very active responses or actions to take when such kind of urge comes. The person will be told what to do. And what the person needs to do, I can say this, is that when you have such urge coming to you, you can easily call your partner, wherever your partner is. Call him or her. If he's at work, call. Just have an interaction, communication with her. You can say certain things to ease yourself.
Okay.
Yes, you can say certain words. You can tell your feelings to him or her. You can tell the person, say, look, this is what I need at this time, but I'm waiting for you.
But don't you think that some partners, some couples will begin to feel insecure? They will be like, oh, my wife need this or my husband need this. I'm not sure that this woman can wait for me. I'm not sure this man can wait for me. Before you know, they will now start suspecting you that if I can be away for some minutes and you're calling me to tell me this, what is the tendency that if I travel for 2 days, you will not help yourself?
Now, that will be the wrong perception in terms of misjudging the wife or the husband. Is a kind of misjudgment. The action there is this, or the issue there is this, that if your partner calls you and expresses his or her feelings to you, you should not misconstrue that.
Okay.
Yes, don't misconstrue it. The fellow should take it and put yourself in her shoe, that when such thing happens to you, you can do the same thing.
All right, thank you. We can't really go extreme on this because I know that we can talk about this a whole day.
Yes, yeah.
Let's look at the next story. Nigerians are struggling with the high cost of life-saving drugs, forcing many to skip doses, use less effective alternatives, or resort to self-medication and traditional healers. This crisis particularly affected those with chronic conditions like diabetes, hypertension, and cancer, putting essential treatment out of reach and straining the public healthcare system. Rising drugs prices are driven by naira devaluation, manufacturers' price adjustment, and government regulations and demands. Despite government's effort to improve healthcare access, many Nigerians still pay out of pocket, leading to financial hardship and increased reliance on under-tested alternatives. Experts emphasize that high-cost, long-distance medical facilities and dismissive healthcare providers attitude are major barriers to good health care. The consensus is that improving health insurance coverage and reducing out-of-pocket expenses are critical to all, alleviating the financial burdens on Nigerian families. All right, it is stated here that the affordability crisis of drugs has pushed essential medications and treatments out of reach for many Nigerians and strained the public health care system. And of course, experts are worrying that the significant numbers of patients who are not taking medication and prescription that they actually give will definitely complicate issues, and it will lead to more expensive intervention. You know that a doctor told me something that if you're giving malaria medicine and then you don't follow the right prescription, that it might not completing itself might awaken more or react more. So what do you think about this? And it is not, I went to get a particular drugs yesterday, very expensive. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So what happened here?
The fact is the high cost of drugs is as a result of the economic state that we find in the country. That's one of the factors. The other factor is that the removal of
fuel subsidy?
Not necessary fuel subsidy, drug subsidy.
Okay.
Because usually the past administrations, they gave into drug subsidies that they made, particularly malaria drugs and typhoid drugs and some other drugs, to be affordable to persons. The government were heavily funding those kind of drugs because they are the common sickness or illnesses that people easily attract. And so in this case that the subsidies are removed and the high cost of economic situation is there, the high cost of the foreign exchange is there, and most of these drugs are not being produced in the country. Even the ones that are produced in the country, the effect of the transportation system and the distribution system and all of that is also impacting heavily on the cost of these drugs. And it is really endangering the lives of the common citizens. If we look at the picture the way it is, it's like people are left to die. Because if you go to the hospitals, you find that people are unable to afford the drugs and even the hospital bills. And at the end, they are left to die. Majority of persons have been passing away because of their inability to afford these drugs. And nobody is concerned. The government is not talking about that. And even now that many have resorted to personal treatment, they are no longer able to afford the hospital bills and all that. They come in to look for the native drugs or native medicines. They are looking for native ways in order to get remedy to their illnesses. And some persons also, they take the wrong native drugs, and at the end it damages the organs of their body and they die. So it is it's a general national issue that government should give urgent attention to. They should restore back that subsidy payment for the drugs. They should try as much as possible to see that drugs are affordable, and also that the government hospitals, they can also do the best to, in fact, not to collect any fee from the patients that come there. Because what are we paying taxes for?
Exactly.
Yes, the taxes we are paying is for the government to care for us when we are sick. Now the hospitals were overbilled, and the money is not in the hands of the people. So where else do they want the people to go to? So the ball is in the court of the government to do their best to help the society. Because if everybody should die, who are they going to govern?
How is the government planning to help the society when in the issues of minimum wage, they are still dragging feet? They are still pricing, like they are talking about prices of crayfish in the market. They're talking about 60,000, 62,000, and whether 65 and above. And you know that some of these drugs or some of these underlying illnesses that we actually mentioned here, one of those drugs is nothing less than 50 to 60,000.
Yeah.
And they are planning to give minimum wage of 60,000. How are the governments planning to help Nigerians? Remember that companies are still living because of the issues of insecurity. What exactly are they going to do at this moment?
The government are not being sincere. They are not being sincere in terms of determining the minimum wage. And the question is this money is not an individual money. It is the public money. It's not their money. The politicians have, one way or the other, taking over all these resources to become theirs and letting the masses, the public, to die without any concern. So to me, I see that the government need to change in terms of their priorities. They should take the health of the public as a priority. I know of a state in this country where the governor has told people to come for medical check free of charge. Yes, there is a state where people are going, free medications. These are the things that society is longing for. They are looking ahead from the government that there should be free medicals for people. Now, you can do it in such a way that when people go for these free medicals, like many of these persons, they've lost their job. They are jobless. They are also, their income is unable to cater for food, clothing, drugs, school fees for their children. So it is a very, very serious issue. The government should do the aspect they should do by making these drugs to be subsidized. They should do that.
So for the meantime that Nigerians can, majority of Nigerians cannot afford drugs, is there something the government can do, at least look after those people with some of these underlying illnesses that they can't actually afford to take drugs, I mean, to get the drugs?
To afford the drugs.
Yes.
Yes, the government can specify certain illnesses that when any individual is suffering from such kind of illnesses and then go to the hospital when he's diagnosed, and then the doctors finds that this is what the person is going through. The government should make some leverage for such people that if they are going through such illnesses, doctors should treat the person at the expense of the government. They can
actually do that.
Yes, they can do that. The policy they can effect a policy, they can legislate a policy to that effect, and then it can work.
Because even in the government-owned hospital, if you get there, it's not that the difference is quite much from that of private. It's almost the same thing.
It's the same thing because the cost, they are also buying the drugs from the market. And so wherever they are going for the drugs, they are getting the same drugs from the same source. But the issue is that government can take more fund, you know, purchase these drugs, and then give it to the hospital. Unfortunately, it's just that when these drugs get to the hospital, you know, the corruption in the system is that the same hospital will go and sell this drug to their private clinics.
Oh.
Very often, yes, come on. They do that, they go and sell it to private clinics. And when these people come to this public place, they say, the drugs are not there. We'll refer you to so private clinic. This is what is going on in the country.
Okay, so for them not to even look at this direction for the meantime, and they have been talking about the issues of census. So do you think is another critical way, I mean another indirect way, that's the word that you use, that the government is trying to use to reduce the population in our country?
Exactly. We don't even need to say so much about that. The fact is that both the hunger in society, the sicknesses that are coming, people are unable to, the insecurity is already directing us that a lot of people will go down. They will die. No, that's the basic fact. And where the government is not proactive to these issues, what are you expecting? Many persons have given up. They are waiting for the day they will die because they are doing nothing to their illness. They are doing nothing. They can't eat. I'm just telling you, I've encountered some persons who come begging for their family that they've not taken food for some days, and they think it's a lie. It's true. Some of them, no job, no work, no nothing, and And you know, government will say, go and do work, go and do job. In what kind of environment?
Which of the
In
job?
what kind of situation? Where is the industry? The industries are packing up. Companies are folding up. Banks and so many others are folding up. And people are getting unemployed. And all of this is saying that, is suggesting that, oh, you people should just die. That's what it means.
That sounds very harsh. We will not die in Jesus' name.
We're not going to die, exactly. So,
let's just keep our hope alive.
of course.
Everything is going to be all right. All right, the last story for today is on entertainment. That's Naira abuse. US-based Nigerian singer Emma Ikeago, known as Alabama, criticized the federal government's decision to prosecute those caught abusing Naira, arguing it will further impoverish Nigerian entertainers. He noted that spraying money at performance boosts entertainers' income and banning it will negatively impact their livelihoods. Alabama urged the government to implement measures allowing entertainers to be spraying during performances. He mentioned his own dance project, Wajo, and highlighted the struggles of budding talent in Nigeria. This comes as a popular cross-dresser Bobrisky served a 6-month jail term and socialite Cubana chief priest faced trials for Naira abuse. Alabama, who rose to fame in the early 90s, relocated to the U.S. due to frustrations in Nigerian music industry. The issue of Naira abuse, I mean, is becoming a big deal now.
Yeah.
Before, you see people just spray Naira despite the law, the CBN law, but they don't take into consideration that this thing I'm doing might end me in jail, might land me behind bars. But now it's a big deal because Bobrisky is still behind the bars as we speak. But is spraying money the only way of giving entertainers money? Because it's saying that this is going to impact negatively on their livelihood because they're no longer spraying money. Can someone bring a bunch of money and just place in?
I disagree with that man.
You disagree with?
Yes, I disagree with him because let him check around in other parts of the world where we have entertainers. Have they seen where they spray money?
Are they rich like Nigerian entertainers? Are they wealthy like us?
No, such people are rich. They are rich. What do we use to scale or to determine a rich person? It's not by spraying of money.
Okay.
Spraying of money is hypocritical.
Really?
Yes, very hypocritical because people do that for a public show. They just want to deceive the public that they have money. They don't have money. Those who have money, you can't see them spray money. Let me tell you the fact.
Say that again.
I said
those
who have money do not spray money. What they do is that they call your attention and they say, okay, can I have your account number? Of course. We don't spray money. If you give the account number and they are so pleased with your entertaining activity or whatever you do, they will send the money to you. It's not where people change the money to smaller denominations or to others. And some of this money you see they spray is a kind of conspiracy where a group of individuals, they could take a person's money or their group money and they bring that money and they spray it. They spray it. They spray that money. It does not show that the person spraying it is the owner of the money. You don't know what's going on in this issue of spraying of money. Most of these persons, they are spraying money that a group have already agreed to.
But we have equally seen those who spray money owned by them.
There are those who spray money owned by them. But all I want to say is that majority of those who spray money don't have money. Those who don't spray, they do have.
How do you spray money when you don't have?
Now, spraying of money itself, like I told you, it is just to mislead the public in terms of making them feel that you have it when you don't have it. Secondly, it is also a a kind of letdown to the legal tender of the country. Yes, because in Western society, we can't see this kind of thing happen. You don't see people carry money and put somebody on the head and be spraying it like that. It is a barbaric, to me, I think, it's a primitive kind of lifestyle.
Have you sprayed money before?
That was a long time. I was very much younger.
So
but this time I
that
don't.
time you didn't have money.
I wasn't having the knowledge I have today. So the law of that bans the spray of money is a good one. Okay. And I'm saying the EFCC, the government, or the agencies should uphold it. They should not listen to that man who say that the entertainment industry will be losing money. Will suffer. It's a lie. It's a big lie. He's just trying to make himself, you know, be, let me say, somebody who is coming to speak.
He just wants his voice to be heard.
Just make his voice heard. He's saying a fallacy there. So I disagree with him, please. The government should uphold that law. That's my own intake.
All right. What do you think about the story of yours? Alabama said that entertainers are going to suffer because government has prohibited spraying of money, and CBN Act has also prohibited that. No more spraying of money. If you want to give someone money, I mean, you can put it in a bag, in an envelope, give the person, or better still, transfer. So no more spraying of money. But Allah is not comfortable with that law, saying that he's going to make musicians suffer, entertainers will suffer. No. And I'm wondering whether the people overseas are not rich because they do not spray the money. And of course, Dr. Godson said he is very comfortable with this law. They should continue and they should never stop. If you are caught, you're going to be behind the bars. This is to remind you again that it is against CBN Act 2007 to spray money. If you do that or step on it, you're going to be behind the bars. Don't spray money. There are better ways to present money to someone. If you want to give me money, let me know. Of course, there are better ways to do that. Thank you so much, Dr. Godson, for coming.
Yeah. It's a
on
pleasure.
today's show. It was
we'll
good.
hope to see you again.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for our viewers.
Yeah.
Thank you for staying patiently. I am Immaculata Irikana. If you miss out, there are platforms, amazing platforms for you to follow, and do well to follow, do well to comment, do well to like, do well to share when you get there. You can join us on Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1. X Atlantic TV Net. You can also watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. Remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thanks for watching and continue to stay connected on ATN Socials till we come your way next time. Good afternoon.